Hey Canucks fans, are you ready for another 4 years of Jim Benning? I'm Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCBC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, August the 18th. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to Darren Walsh of Walsh Pavers for once again sponsoring this video. The link to his website is down below in the description. Okay, I'm a little late to this Jim Benning party. The news broke on Friday. I was on a golf course in Bellingham on Friday, so I wasn't really checking messages. Maybe that's a good thing given, I'm sure, all the craziness. I'm sure Friday was a crazy day here on Canucks Twitter. But yes, it was Friday and Saturday. I was in Bellingham with my son Sean and a few other guys, our annual church guys golf trip. 2 days of awesome golf, a lot of fun. You guys saw from my tweets also. There's not only golf, but some basketball. You saw the video of that awesome dunk I did, that reverse jam on that 10-foot, make that 9-foot, make that 8-foot hoop. But all in all, it was a great time to get away for a couple of days. But yes, I did not hear a lot about the Jim Benning extension. I got a couple text messages, and then I didn't check my messages or didn't check Twitter and the internet till I got back to the place we were staying at that night. Then I saw a bit of news, not a lot actually, maybe because it's the summer, but I saw a few people talking about it, but it wasn't crazy. Well, not as crazy as I thought it would be, but now I've had a couple of days to process it and I can talk about it now. So Jim Benning, 3-year contract extension as the Canucks GM. It'll bring his total tenure to 9 years. When he came in May 2014, I thought it was a 5-year, but apparently it's a 4-year contract. So that took him to the end of 15, 16, 17, and 18. In February 18, they extended him by 2 years to take him through 19 and 20, i.e. this season coming up. And now they just announced, they didn't even have to wait till the season started. They announced 3 more years, so taking him through to 21, 22, 23. So the 2022-2023 season will be Benning's last season according to this contract. That'll be a total of 9 years. That'll be 4 seasons from now, including this season. So in essence, he's going to get a chance to see through everything that he's built. And I'm not going to go through every draft pick, every free agent signing, every trade here. Other people have done that. But I want to talk about my impressions of this contract extension. And what was really interesting is one of the guys on this golf trip, the one who organized it, was my season ticket partner, Mike. I've talked about Mike many times before. Mike is just as invested as I am, obviously, as my season ticket partner. In fact, he's the one who got me into the team, got me into the season tickets, I should say. I've always been a fan of the team, but he's the one who got me into the season tickets when his longtime season ticket partner moved away out of the province. So I've been a season ticket holder since the 2010-2011 season. It's a pretty cool season to come in, of course, that magical run, 1 game short. But yes, Mike is just as invested financially, time, energy, and he's the one who plays a lot. Played to a relatively high level hockey, so he understands hockey. He gets hockey strategy, personnel moves, everything. So we chat obviously a lot, understandably. And you can put him, it's kind of funny, we kind of represent the two sides of Canucks Twitter when it comes to not necessarily positive and negative, but when it comes to Jim Benning. And as you could probably guess, not just because I'm the founder of the GLCPC, but I'm okay. I'm not thrilled, but I'm okay with what Jim Benning has done with the team so far. I choose to focus on the positive things, the positive signings, trades, draft picks. And then Mike is firmly entrenched in the camp of the fire Benning or the people who are anti-Benning. And in fact, it was kind of funny. When I told him, when I got a text from one of my friends about the extension, I told him, and I think it was just before he was about to chip onto the green or just before he was about to putt. And he claims that I wrecked the rest of his round. I just think he didn't play as well as he wanted to, but no, he was fine. But overall, it was kind of funny that he said that he wished that I didn't tell him until we were finished playing. But I was excited. It was breaking Canucks news. So what was really fascinating then, that at dinner time, it was Mike, it was me, it was my son Sean, it was 4 other guys, and we had a really good chat about the state of the Canucks right now. And we talked about the draft picks, the free agent signings, the trades. And the good thing about Mike is, despite how firmly entrenched he is, and he doesn't think Jim Benning is a good GM, and I'm sure many of you watching this would agree with that, whether you're on Twitter or on YouTube. And I'm firmly entrenched in the fact that I'm okay with the job he's done, and I think I want to see through what happens. And I think that's a thought behind this contract extension, is that Jim Benning will, instead of being a lame duck GM, or instead of worrying that he's going to make all these changes to the team this season only just to save his job, they've already taken care of that part. They've signed the contract extension now. So now he'll legitimately have a chance to see this thing through for another 3 years. Whether that means, I can't speculate if that means it slows down on some of the trades or some of the signings he was going to do, or I think it just means that he has a chance to work through the salary cap crunch that they may be in, to see some of his draft picks pan out, the Podkolzins and the Hoglanders maybe 2 or 3 years down the road from now, and of course to see the core that he's built, the core that he's drafted. We know Bo Horvat was the last pick of the Gillis regime, the last year, I should say, 2013. So under Jim Benning, the Canucks have drafted Brock Besser, Jake Virtanen, Adam Gaudette, Thatcher Demko, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, Gadjevich, Lind, all those guys, Breezeball, right? So they've drafted all these guys that we want to see. Jet Wu, of course, we want to see Oli Ulevi. I can keep going, but you can see that there's a lot of guys in the system, a lot of guys we're excited about that Jim Benning will now get a chance to see fight for a spot in the Canucks lineup. And when you look at Jim Benning's tenure here over the past 5 years, now entering his 6th year, I think you could argue both sides of the coin for everything for the three main, the four main areas really, in drafting, in free agents, in trades, and in negotiating maybe contract extensions is a fourth way to look at it. And like I said, I'm not going to go through every single transaction. I don't have that good of a memory, but we can talk. I basically want to point out how you can argue either side of the coin, and you can make a legitimate argument for both sides. And I think that was the point that came out of that dinner with Mike and the guys is we were able to bring up the good, the negative, or the good and the bad, but we were able to agree on that we're all Canucks fans. And now there's whether you like him or not, there's not much you can do about it. Jim Benning is going to be here for the next 4 years unless something crazy happens in a bad way. So he'll get a chance to see it through. So what's he going to see through? Well, on the drafting side, obviously there have been some hits like Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes looks like he's going to be a hit, Thatcher Demko looks like he's going to be a hit, Adam Gaudette could turn into a solid NHL player. Jake Virtanen, we so badly want him to succeed. He just turned 23 years old, so he's still young. Oli Ulevi, we don't know what he's going to look like in a Canucks uniform. There are still guys like Lynn, like Gadjevich, like Wu, guys like that I just talked about. Even Tyler Madden, a dark horse there. So there's a lot to like in who the Canucks have drafted. You can always go back to every year and say, well, instead of taking this guy, we should have taken this guy. But people from other teams could be saying the same thing about Pettersson and about Hughes, especially if Hughes works out, and about Besser for sure, who fell all the way to 23rd, or it was a steal at 23 in 2015. So whatever way you want to look at it, I'd say that the coming in Jim Benning, the thought was, his reputation was that he was a good scout. Obviously, there are other people working with him, but I think generally we could give a passing grade, and we should give a passing grade to his drafting, and that's the whole point, right, of him signing on for another 3 years, is that he's going to be able to see it through. Free agency, I think this is a 50-50 here. People will say we overpaid Tyler Myers. Other people will say it was great that we signed Myers and Ben and Michael Ferland this year because they make our team that much better. You look at last year, we weren't thrilled maybe with Roussel, Beagle, and Schaller as their free agent pickups. I think Roussel was a nice surprise. Beagle, 50-50, and Schaller has been a disappointment for sure. You go back the year before that, that was the big year where they had 6 guys. None of them are with the team. That includes Nelson and Delzato and Gagne, who turned out to Spooner, who turned out to be a buyout. So maybe not the best there. So you can see, just looking at the past 3 or 4 years, that it's a 50-50 when it comes to his free agent signings. And then you have to, of course, factor in the fact that we've let guys like Hamhuis and Verbata go in free agency for basically nothing because we weren't able to secure, a trade or assets for them before they hit the market. So that's one thing we need to think about, obviously. The screen looks like it's flashing or something. Anyways, or maybe I'm moving around too much. So 50-50 when it comes to free agency. When it comes to contract extensions, contract signings of guys that we do have, an extension of free agency a little bit. I think Alex Edler's signing was a good one, 2 years. 2 more years at $6 million, and we're not tied to him. I think that's okay. Other guys that need to be signed, we'll see what happens with the Brock Besser signing. I think we'd agree that the Bo Horvat contract is very good. 6 years at $5.5 million. It doesn't really hamstring the team that way. Or 5.5 or 5. I think it's 5.3 or 5.5. 5.5 sounds right. So I think some of the extensions of guys that we've already have been pretty good. I like the Horvat one. I like the other one. We'll see what happens with the Besser one. Those are kind of been the big ones over the past 3 or 4 years for sure. Or the past couple of years, I should say, not 3 or 4 years. And then let's quickly talk about his trades. This is, I think, is also a hit and miss. No, we didn't like giving away Jared McCann for Gudbranson, but Gudbranson turned into Tanner Pearson. And when you look at the Pearson trade, when you look at the Josh Levo trade, the Sven Berchi trade a few years ago, those 3 guys, even the Goodobin trade for an aging Hansen or Jonathan Dahlen didn't work out, but that was for an aging Burrows. I do like the trades the Canucks have made under Jim Benning, you can't really look back and say, man, that's maybe except for Gabranson for McCann. You can't really say, man, that's one trade where we lost for sure. That was a brutal trade for us. And I would argue that the Pearson and Levo trades and the Berchi trades have been wins for us. The JT Miller trades, a nice example of how you can go both ways. Some would say, wow, we're getting a proven 40-point guy, or 50-point guy over the past 4 seasons, a proven goal scorer, a guy who can fit in the top 6, who's played with really good players in Tampa. He's a legitimate, bona fide top 6 guy that we're going to have for the next 4 seasons. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it would be say, man, we gave away too much for him. We gave away a first rounder this year, then a third rounder, and then another conditional first rounder. Sorry, it wasn't a first rounder this year. We gave away the third rounder and then a conditional first rounder. Some people might say that that's too much, right? And you can argue that as much as you want. You could say, well, that could be a lottery pick over the next 2 seasons. I hope not. I hope the Canucks aren't going to be that bad. But some would say, oh, that's a lottery pick. And others would say, no, it's fine. You never know. It's a crapshoot. At least with JT Miller, we know who we're getting. And there's other trades we can go to as well. But I think that's that's one. That's a perfect example. You go either side of the coin. So my whole point of this vlog today is acknowledging that, yes, I did hear the Benning news, although I haven't recorded about it. But more importantly, I think it's going to be a talking point for, not just because it's the dog days of summer, so to speak, with little hockey news. We're waiting for the Besser and by a little bit of the Godolphin news, contract extensions. But really, it's going to be a talking point for the next 4 seasons, right? Because Jim Benning has always been a talking point. Jim Benning is basically where Canucks Twitter splits off. And it's not so much about the coach, Travis Green. It's a little bit of the Aquilini's. It's not so much about the players, really. It really comes down to Jim Benning. That's where the kind of chasm starts. And that's where the split starts. And that's why you get all these interesting debates and fun exchanges on Twitter. So, Canucks fans, I'd love to hear what you think. And now that we've talked about some of the trades, some of the free agent signings, some of the extensions, and of course some of the drafting, are you happy with this 3-year contract extension for Jim Benning? Do you think it's good that he's going to get a chance to see this through? Do you think it's going to make a difference to the way he signs guys or trades for guys? Or maybe you weren't worried about it in the first place. I just want to know what you think about the signing, about this contract extension. Are you happy with it? Are you content with it? And yeah, what are your general emotions when it comes to hearing that Jim Benning will be with us for this season plus another 3 after that? Leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply. As always, I'll do my best. I'll try and get better at that, replying to these comments. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. It's beautiful. I'm glad to be back home. God bless. Go Canucks, go.